record. Oh, so now it's recording, right? No.
Yeah, it's got.
Is it?
Yeah, it's got record right here for me.
Oh, I see it now. Okay, cool. Now, can I get, I guess this is as big as the screen should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let me take a swig of this, and then I'm going to launch into my intro, and then your last name is pronounced Phelps, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
like Michael.
Just getting everything clear. All right, here we go. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Vibing With Sleezy, the podcast. This is episode 4. Thank you to everybody who's been listening to the past 2 episodes. This one's going to be done a little bit different. This one will be done virtual Zoom. Pretty much, Evie Phelps is my guest, and she is located where, Evie?
I'm in Mitchell, Indiana.
So she's in Mitchell, Indiana. So we are going to be doing this virtual. Not all of my podcasts are virtual, clearly from the past few episodes, but I will be doing this more with friends that are out of state and also people international. So basically, this episode will cover a few wide range of topics. I think the past few episodes, if anyone's been clearly listening constantly, that I've been switching the topics and getting it down to different things that can interest really anybody in any age range. So today we'll be discussing plants, which pretty much plants are a way of life, pretty much is what keeps everybody living. Then we're also going to be discussing crafts and kind of just arts and crafts in general. And then we'll be discussing Hanover College, and we'll just be discussing just a few wide range of things. So right now I will start off by having some few basic questions. So welcoming you in. So you like plants, clearly.
I have a problem.
Okay. So how many plants do you think you have?
50 to 100.
So are they mainly indoor or outdoor?
Yeah. So my job, I am a botanist. So plant biology is my thing.
Okay.
And then we just keep amassing more plants. So I have probably 20 aloes. I have a lot of like the bigger philodendrons. And then we have a garden that is ridiculous. Every year I say, like, I am not going to have a massive garden. We only have 1/3 of an acre where we live, and every square foot is covered in something.
Wow. So
yeah,
do you get like, I mean, do you just like go to stores and you just see these plants, or are you getting seeds and just like trying stuff differently? Like, how is it working for you?
Yeah. So for our garden, we do all mostly seeds. I will have stuff die and I'll have to buy like full plants at our local stores. But for our indoor plants, usually I have friends that have something. I'll go over to their house, I'll see it, and then I'll take a cutting from it, and then I'll resprout it over at my house. Or I'll take seeds from what they have, and I'll bring it home with me, and then I baby them for about 6 months, and then I have a full plant again. And
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and then sometimes I'll get brave and I'll order shit from Amazon, which I do not recommend.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is what you think it is. And then sometimes you get it and you're like, why'd this asshole send me tomato seeds? Like, this is not what I wanted at all.
Yeah. So sometimes you can't trust who's actually shipping you the seeds.
Yeah. And sometimes there are like weird plants growing in with the plant that you wanted. And I'm like, that's probably a bad plant. That's probably invasive. So now I can't even plant it. And then I have to destroy it.
Not to get off the plant subject, because I have a bunch of other questions, but I had some same shit kind of happen today talking about trying to trust someone on the internet. So I've been doing eBay. I guess I should start plugging my store. It's called Mr. E Loves to Sell and Buy. I got about over 300 items for sale, and I've been doing it for about 12 years and 100% positive ratings. So definitely buy something. Mr. E Loves to Sell and Buy. But I got a wide range of things for women and men. But basically, and children. And I guess even old people. And so it's just pretty much for everybody. The thing I was going to say is usually ship stuff with like a tracking number, and I tried to sell something last month. And for the first time ever in my life, I didn't ship it with a tracking number. So the dude said he lost it, like he never got it in the mail. And I was like, all right, I'll pay you back. So basically, it was like $6 for these headphones. Those are just some cheap PlayStation headphones. So basically, I've PayPal him back $6 for the refund. A month later, today, he decides to open a case on me. And so he's like, I want my $6 back. And I'm like, dude, I gave you the $6 back. So I call eBay and I start hitting eBay with the screenshots. And I'm like, look at this shit, man. And the dude in the eBay line's like, oh, yeah, we're going to close this case on this guy. He's trying to double dip. So, I mean,
$12 essentially.
Yeah, but it's like, it's not even that big of a deal for $6, but it's like, it's the principle. And also, too, It's like, how pathetic are you that you have to double dip on me a month later? And like, what's he expecting me to do? Just click the button like, oh yeah, I already refunded you once. But it just proves there's still some shitty people out there.
Yeah. So I'm Evie's Craft Room on Instagram and eviescraftroom.com.
Yeah. Plug and so,
yeah. Hi everybody. My name's Evie. So I ship a lot of stuff as well. And I always get a tracking number because I am terrified for that person because I use my website. I use my e-commerce site. So I don't have like an eBay platform of people checking stuff for me.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes PayPal will help me out with stuff, but man, that is few and far between. So I am paranoid. I always get the extra. If I ship an item under $50, I'm still getting $50 worth of insurance.
Yes.
Especially when COVID hit last year. I don't know if you saw this with shipping stuff, but like it was taking 3 months to get stuff to people.
Oh yeah, it was wild. I mean, I probably ship about 14 things a month, maybe 20. And especially during the holidays, people are spending money and like things are delayed. But you're protected by that tracking number. If you don't ship with it, it will burn you in the ass. So, so back into the plant subject, I want to dive back into. So, if for our listeners, if they were wanting to get into the plant game and start growing indoor, outdoor plants, what would you suggest? Some starter plants that don't take a lot of sunlight.
Okay, so I love an aloe plant. An aloe plant. Man, it'll tell you when it needs water. And if I don't know, I'm going to post this on my YouTube page. So if you're watching this, you can see an aloe that needs water. So the leaves start to droop. You'll start to see a little bit of yellowing in the tips. That's when it's like, dude, you've not watered me for 3.5 months. No, not that long, but they can go about 3.5 weeks without water. So they're pretty docile. You can't do a lot to hurt them. And if you're starting an outdoor garden of any type, I'm a huge fan of lettuce. It feels like you can underwater it. I'm not sure if you can ever overwater it. And it's another one that'll let you know. It'll start to droop. You can obviously tell. Like,
is this iceberg lettuce? Is this romaine? I mean, what kind of lettuce?
Yeah, any of the lettuces. So I use I just get a spring lettuce mix from Annie's Seed Company. P.S. Annie's Seed Company sponsor me. They're out of Michigan, and they are awesome. So I get their spring mix, and I'm lazy. I'm also a lazy gardener. My husband's the one that's like, if you have a delicate plant, he should be taking care of it, because I just like throw it in a pot and I'm like, good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
So if I can grow lettuce and I can keep aloes alive, I promise you can too.
So let me ask you this. For example, like Myers grocery store in Louisville, it's pretty much got a department store area, garden section. So they're putting out those plant displays where it has like $2 seed packets for vegetables or just your basic plants. Do you recommend people going that route, or do you think that is just kind of just bullshit seeds? I mean, just from a person that's in this game.
So from what I can tell, and I've used a lot of different seeds, The stuff you get at Dollar General. So I live in a small community, and our only two options are Ben Franklin and Dollar General for seeds. And I guess the Dollar Tree. So the cheaper the seeds, by and large, the worse off you are in germination rates. So germination rates are the ability for a seed to come out of dormancy and become a plant.
Gotcha.
So when I'm like at the dollar store and it's the end of the season and they're selling seed packets for 10 cents, I'm going to get 10 of them because I know they're probably not going to be that great.
But something might sprout.
Right. So I have seeds from the dollar store that I've had for like 4 years. These onions, they sprout. There's just not a lot of them sprouting for how many seeds there are.
Okay.
But if you go to a Meijer or a Walmart, you can start to see probably what seeds are going to be good just based on what other people are buying. So if you see like 2 or 3 seed packets left of one variety, grab that up because that means it's probably going to be good in your area.
Gotcha.
But
now, would you say for this area, let's speak on, I know you're in a little different area of Indiana, but also in Kentucky, Indiana are kind of similar in a way. I know, and I know different states have a wide range of different soils and everything, but what would you say here is some other plants that you've seen successfully grow? And this isn't sun, no sun, this is just plants in general. I mean, what is very common that people are growing?
Yeah. So in my little neck of the woods, I always suggest that go to your first farmer's market and see what everybody has, because most of the time the folks at your farmer's market are going to know what's up.
Oh, so
because they're trying to make money
go there, meet a local person, and then they'll tell you, hey, I'm growing these pumpkins, fantastic, and you might want to give that stuff.
Yeah, and you can even look at what they have on their table. And I mean, right now our local market is selling, we've got chives, we've got, lettuce, cabbage, kale is great right now. So there's a family of plants called brassicas, and it basically is your cabbage, your kale, your kohlrabi, your Brussels sprouts. It's all the same plant. It's just bred in different ways. So those are really great right now. And then tomatoes are always like, that is our thing. I don't know what it is in Lawrence County, but everybody wants to grow tomatoes.
That's a big thing in Louisville too. A lot of people in Louisville, I've noticed, especially in Shavley, my grandmother and actually a few other people were big on growing the backyard tomatoes and, not even selling them, really getting rid of them. People just be handing them out to their neighbors and stuff. But you bringing up peppers is a great thing because I feel like everyone I know that is either amateur or expert at this stuff or just really takes this seriously loves to grow at least one kind of pepper. Even if they don't eat it, they try to because it seems like it's such a easy grow sometimes. Yeah,
so the jalapeno, the green bell pepper, those are really easy to grow because they have a shorter growing time, time to maturity. So between the time that you start the seed, it germinates and produces fruit, which is your pepper. It's a pretty short window. If you're looking at those hot peppers though, last year I did some Czech black hot peppers and they weren't that hot in my opinion, but I can handle spice really well.
Yeah.
It took them 180 days to grow. So I had to start them indoors because I knew that my growing season, my fall cold snap was going to come too soon.
Were people that did try it that aren't good with hot stuff, would they say it's hot, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. They were awesome.
Yeah. And now what's the difference between those maybe and a habanero?
I thought it was spicier than a habanero.
Wow. That's got a kick for some people. Like I was not very familiar with ghost pepper when ghost pepper really started to become kind of trendy, I guess you would say. And Buffalo Wild Wings for a while there. And, I've kind of gone the chicken wing route at some other places. I've kind of extended my palate past B-dubs. But B-dubs still, I'll go there sometimes. They have monthly flavors like that they were releasing for quite a while, like limited edition. And they had one that was sponsored by a Jim Beam flavor. Jim Beam had a white, clear whiskey, and it was like the Ghost of Jacob's
It
Path
was
or something.
so good.
Yeah, and they made that into a ghost pepper sauce with B-dubs. Well, I tried it thinking I want something with a kick, and holy shit, I had done the Blazing Challenge. Like, I beat the Blazing Challenge. I was snot, everything. When I bit into that ghost pepper, it fucking murdered me. So I'll just say it was on a whole nother level. Like, I'm good with some hot stuff, but ghost pepper's no joke.
So I think the Scoville levels on it is too high for me to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I've eaten a ghost pepper, and I can honestly say that I did not taste after that for like 4 days.
Wow.
And I drank, so this is the fun fact. I'm also like really bad about tangents, so you need to keep me on track. But one of the ways that you can cut back on the burn sensation is not drinking milk, but drinking vodka, because alcohol actually denatures that chemical compound faster. Wow. So I was drinking while I ate it, and it did not help.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down to try anything, and I definitely would have tried vodka. When I did the Blazing Challenge, that's the first thing they assume you immediately want is milk. They're bringing you the little school box milk that comes in a little cardboard container, and you're like trying to chug that back. Like, that's what they were giving me. They had like 3 of those lined up after I did it.
Where did you do this?
I did it at the J-Town Buffalo Wild Wings, right there off Stony Brook, J-Town, Hurstbourne area by Taco Bell.
So this is a Buffalo Wild Wings thing?
Yeah, so basically the Blazing it's not the ghost pepper sauce, so it's their Blazing Wing sauce. So basically how it works is this. You can go to any Buffalo Wild Wings. You can either sometimes the servers are doing promotions where they can get like TVs and gift cards from their boss to take on people, or you can just take it on yourself. And what they do at the local one here in Louisville, at the J-Town one, I'm not speaking on any of the others, but the J-Town one where I participated, I showed up. I was there with a few buddies, and basically this guy came up, and he was a waiter, and I've always heard of it. And I'm one of these people, I love to just accomplish shit, even if it's
I do too.
Basic shit, like even if it's like a food competition, it's a really anything. Like I just like to try it and see what can happen. So I'm pretty much at the point of I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to really give this a shot, but fuck it, I'll give it a shot. So I give it a shot, and it ends up pretty much murdering me, but it was worth it. So the guy looks at me and he says, I want to win a TV for my boss. If I do 2 more of these challenges, I will get a TV for my boss. And I said, all right, I'll take you on. So they put us at a table, a high top. They put me in a fireman jacket and a fire hat, and they literally bring out 12 wings. They bring him 12 wings, and they're traditional, and they're covered in blazing sauce. And they're like, you have to finish them, eat all the meat, clean them top to bottom, and show us that you did it. And you got to do it under 6 minutes. You can't drink anything, and you've achieved the Blazing Challenge. So I'm just going to town. I end up killing it with like 12 seconds left. I killed at 5:48. I win the Blazing Challenge. They give you a shirt. They take your picture. You go on some like website or their wall or something. I don't really know where the picture's at. And then they give you a Blazing Challenge T-shirt that you accomplished it. And like I have my shirt still. Like I'm saving it forever because it's just like I was man versus food that day. I felt alive, but I also felt like I was going to die the next day. Like you're immediately just like, oh shit. But I ate those, went back to the table, drank milk for like 30 minutes, and I'm a fat ass. And I was like, I need to eat some more food. And so I just kept eating the wings, and I kind of forgot about it. But that next day, I mean, it was like, what did I eat? But I've seen some people's like just chow them down like it's no big. Like they'll actually order them you can actually order them as your meal and pay money and like eat them, like bring them home.
Okay, I'm down.
I mean, so you could actually go try it and then say, fuck it, let's take them on, see how easy this is.
Yeah. So I watched the show Hot Ones.
Yes, that's a good show.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I bet I could do it. But that's the kind of cockiness that gets you punched in the face.
Oh yeah, by the sauce that's pretty much, towards the end there, it's getting brutal. I mean, you're
Yeah.
looking at 3 or 4 basic sauces, like, oh, it's probably pretty hot. Like, I'm pretty tough too, from the standpoint of like, I'll try to get through something. But if it's getting to that last point and it's like on a skull, I mean, I feel for these people. I mean,
Mm.
and I love that some of these celebrities don't, number one, don't expect it. And then also, like, DJ Khaled, like, he was such a bitch. Like, I'm sorry. He was such a bitch. Like, he was so terrible on the show, and he was like such a cocky person in general. Like, that's whatever, like, if that's his persona, but eat the fucking
That's his
wings
brand.
or just fucking leave the show. Like, you shouldn't have signed up. Like, don't act like, oh my gosh, these are so hot. Like, you knew what you signed up for, dude. So
it's literally the name of the show.
Yeah, it's literally the name of the show. And I love seeing the reactions. That's why we're watching. I mean, the interview is great. The host is great with the questions. He's not on my level, but I'm just kidding. But no, it's just one of these cases where he's very, very great getting to the point with the questions. But I just felt like some of these celebrities don't realize, like, hey, I'm actually on a show eating hot wings. Like, that's the whole point. But some guys can do it. Some ladies can do it. I mean, but others are just, they hit that block,
They just hit the wall. Man.
I mean, I think if I was on that program and I knew so many people tune in, I mean, that person's average, no matter who you really are, celebrity status, when they release an episode, you're getting at least 1 million views. So it's like, I'm going to have to set my game up. Like, I'm going to fucking practice for that shit. Like, I'm training.
Yeah. It's like Steve-O from Jackass put on such a great show. And that's what I love about the Jackass guys, is that they're always providing the show along with everything else. So when I watched that, I watched it three.
They're entertainers for sure.
They're entertainers for sure. And that's what I love. And some of these folks that go on there are not entertainers.
No, they're just there because of celebrity status.
Yeah, and they don't expect it to be a real thing. So then when they get on the show, it's like, it can either be really great and funny, or it could be awful, like DJ Khaled.
Yeah, I mean, and I think too that if you're going to want to promote something and go on somebody's concept, respect it. Like, don't
respect it and play along.
Yeah, respect it, play along, or get the fuck off. But so let me ask you this. I at one time I went down like River Road area, and there was a dude selling cactuses, and I bought one. And I swear the dude had like 40 cactuses, and me and my ex were like, hey, let's get a cactus. I put it on top of the fridge, and it starts growing like a stem, like directly in the middle. And the stem goes probably almost 12 inches tall. Like, it is humongous. And then it keeps growing and growing. Well, I don't know why. I don't know if I was just like blitzed out of my mind, or if I was just thinking this was smart. I took the cactus and moved it outside and tried it for a day, thinking, oh, it's really warm outside. The cactus probably likes some sun. That big, tall stem just immediately folded over. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I went to work, came back, moved the cactus back inside, and it was like an erect penis. Like, it literally just grew right back up. And it was like it just hit air. So I don't know why it just hated the sun that much. But explain how a cactus works for the amateur grower.
So that's a great question. Cactuses are magical. Cactuses are still this thing that perplexed me, because they can handle such low temperatures in the desert. And the next morning, like, wake up like, hello, I am here to show you everything. Like, I don't understand how a plant could endure that much and still be that awesome. I think that about a lot of plants, to be fair. So basically what I think happens is the water inside the cactus finally warms up enough, and the cactus starts photosynthesizing. And when it does that, it actually starts absorbing more water from its surroundings.
Wow.
Closes its stomas, and it actually inflates the cactus. I say that, but I mean that like minimally. In your case, a lot with the cactus. And sometimes plants in general, when they haven't had light for a while and then they get light again, they can actually get a type of basic sunburn, sun scorching. So sometimes it's just because they haven't had those conditions in a while and they're like, oh shit, I am not prepared for this.
Have you ever had a cactus? Have you owned one?
His name was Mr. Buttons. Do you want to hear the sad story of Mr. Buttons?
Yes, I would. Yes.
So I used to work in the greenhouse at Hanover College, and there was this cactus named Mr. Buttons, and he was cute. He lived his life in a jar, and he had no lid on top of the jar. He just lived in the jar. Well, the professor I was working for one day said, I'm really sorry, Evie, but you're going to have to get Mr. Buttons out of that jar because we need it for something else. And I was like, this can't be that bad. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So Mr. Buttons was a dick. So cacti can have removable spikes called glaucids that implant into your skin and looked under a microscope look like a little hypodermic needle.
That's super.
And what they do is when you are, I was like 21, hungover, and dumb. And I didn't have gloves that came all the way up. They just hit me like right about the wrist.
Yeah.
So when I got my hands around Mr. Buttons and that thing got too heavy and I bobbled the fucking cactus and it lands, it rolls up my arms, and it felt worse than when you have like, I don't know, splinters or fiberglass under your skin.
Yeah.
So Mr. Buttons falls to the ground and breaks into like 1,000 pieces. And the professor says, I need you to get rid of Mr. Buttons. I hate him. And I feel bad, right? I just like busted his cactus in 1,000,000 pieces. And I'm the plant lady. So I sweep him up in a little pan, and he lived in the apartment or my dorm room for 4 years. And when I graduated, I threw Mr. Buttons in the trash. I had hit him that many times. My cat had gotten into him. I mean, it was just a mess.
You had a love for Mr. Buttons. You had a special bond with Mr. Buttons.
I did. It was very toxic.
It was toxic, yeah. But at the same time, you are the reason Mr. Buttons' legacy is going to continue living on. I mean, seriously, you just shared Mr. Buttons' story on episode 4, and if he would have died in the classroom, you never been discussing it.
I know. That was when I first realized that maybe working with cacti was not my forte.
So the other thing about cactus that's weird is, so you bring up the water. So how much water do you think a cactus can really hold? I mean, how many gallons are we talking?
I don't know. I think
they're big. They're big in the out west.
Yeah, like the saguaro cacti, they can hold hundreds of gallons of water because they're not getting water very often. So I kind of think of it like maybe fat cells isn't a good way, but like fat cells on us is to store nutrients.
Yes.
And so it's the same deal. They're like the camel of the desert. So some of the saguaros can, hundreds of gallons of water.
Wow.
And they use very little of it.
Yeah.
So they're super efficient.
That's so cool. It's so cool. Because it would be such a cool way to live sometimes, like, especially like camels. Camels are my favorite animal, actually. And I think they're just so interesting too. Yes. So I've been to about, I don't know, I might have mentioned this on one of the episodes. I've been to about 40 zoos and aquariums. I'm a big zoo advocate. I know some people, it's a controversial thing. Some people don't like them. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't be seeing some of the animals that they have if it wasn't for zoos. Also conservation, big with like tigers. Louisville Zoo has the addicts. There's only like 20 left in the world.
I know.
So that kind of stuff is so important. And what these zoos are bringing back animals that are almost extinct from breeding and different programs. But to get off that subject and, but talking about camels or whatever, when I was a little kid, before I really got to explore other zoos and go out, I just always loved zoos since I was a kid. my mom actually had opportunity. She had a friend that worked at the zoo. Well, the friend was like, hey, you can bring your kid out. We'll go into an exhibit or whatever. And I picked the camels. So, like, I could have probably picked a lot more interesting exhibit, but I picked them. And so I'm like 7, and I'm getting to, like, ride each camel that they had. You know, they had multiples, and I'm in the actual exhibit. And people are looking at me. So that actually just, like, blew my mind. So I was just like, man, I'm going to love camels forever. So I've sometimes bought camel, like, little souvenirs when I'm on trips. It's just, but I've told people that, and people are like, what? That's your favorite animal? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's a fascinating. Yeah. I mean,
that's like my love of plants.
Yeah.
Because I remember the botanical gardens that my mom and dad and I would go to. I'm an only child, and, like, I remember. What?
Yes.
How did I not know that?
Yeah.
That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
But I remember going to these botanical gardens and seeing this crazy, like, the crazy carnivorous plants, the century plants that only bloom once a century. I remember seeing orchids, like, hanging off the walls. And then we would go down to Florida, and I just remember the craziness of the Everglades. And it really sticks with you. So I totally understand the camel.
And I think the botanical gardens, that's another thing with zoos. They try to tie them in some ways. The Indianapolis Zoo has a great botanical garden actually to the right side you can go to. It's actually like multiple levels, and I think you can check it. Cincinnati Zoo as well actually has sloths inside their botanical garden by their elephant house. So there's a lot of good areas. Something I was going to say too that I wanted to bring up. I don't know if you've ever, like, got onto, like, a YouTube rabbit hole of, like, watching videos and stuff, but have you? So what about the human fly trap, or the what is it called? The fly trap?
The Venus flytraps.
So have you ever watched the Venus flytrap compilation videos on YouTube? It's just people.
I love carnivorous plants. Like, the Venus flytrap, the mechanism in which they close is crazy. The chemistry is absolutely insane. And then I also like the Nepenthes, which are the cup plants, where basically they have you seen these? They have the digestive fluids.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So Nepenthes raja is, like, my favorite of the pitcher plants because it has enough digestive fluid in the actual cup that if a rat fell in of large size, it could dissolve the whole rat, and then it sucks out its nutrient.
Holy shit. What?
Yes. So the pitcher itself can hold up to 10 cups of water. And there's one report that a rat fell in 1972. Why do I know this? I don't know. But in 1972, a rat fell in and was completely digested.
Holy shit. You know, that actually reminds me, when I worked at Budweiser, we were partnered with Monster for a couple of years before they went to Coke locally. And we distributed Monster cans, and there was a Family Dollar out on, like, Rockford Lane, somewhere out in Chavley. And I get a call, and I'm covering a dude's route. We had this dude that was, like, on vacation. It might have actually been this old dude, Joe, got, like, a DUI, and they fired him. I don't know. I was covering his route for a while, and I get this call, and they're like, hey, we need you to come by the Family Dollar. There's, like, an emergency. And they're not telling me why. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm trying to, like, get promoted. I'm young, like, trying to work my ass off. So I get over there, like, 4 o'clock, and I'm like, what's going on? I'm Eric. I'm covering so-and-so's route. And they're like, look at these cans. And I go back and look. And 3 of the cans of Monster had fucking mice in them. And they were just completely drowned. So you open it up, and there's actual mice that were in the cans. And I said, holy shit. And then here's what's even crazier. Not only were there mice in the cans, I don't know how, if they were already shipped that way, but this is even worse. Another Family Dollar called me once and said, we need credit on some Monster cans. And I was like, okay. So I go out there. It's the one down in, like, Portland. And I go down to Portland and I walk in and fucking fucking mice had chewed through the Monster cans in the back. They had mice. So these mice were just chewing through the cans and getting that Monster and just fucking balking up and just going to town on metal cans. Like literally turning these mice into Hulks, like just chewing the fuck out of everything. And like literally it was happening everywhere. Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, so I literally was like traumatized by that. And it actually, like, I was on a kick where I was drinking Monster coffee, like the Monster coffees, like once a day.
Me too.
And literally after that, done 3 months. I took a hiatus, like, because I'm picturing like, are they my cans? Like, are they in the warehouse? It's very scary.
Yeah.
So, I will say this too as well. The other thing about plants that I find really odd and just unique is like how quick they can grow back in a way. So like, I don't know if you got to, people listen to episode 3. I talked about ghosts and stuff. So like the witches.
No, man, I'm out.
You're out? Did you not listen?
I'm out.
Have you not listened to that?
When it said prepared to be scared, I'm like,
it was
I'm
scary.
a child.
It got real. Like the dude texted me today, said that it's like trapped in his brain. Some of the stuff he heard, and he's like, I wish I could figure out what all I heard. Now here's the thing. I won't get into anything too scary, but so I'll reiterate a story that was on episode 3, and I kind of want to get your opinion since you haven't heard it yet, and ask you, what is the possibility of this happening? So in Old Louisville, there is a tree called the Witch's Tree. It is a tree back in the 1800s that was actually picked by the city to destroy during the Old Louisville tornado. And Old Louisville had a tornado, killed some people, knocked down some old homes, knocked down some trees. They didn't really know how to face it. This is over 100 years ago. And basically they picked that tree, stating that if they didn't cut that down, it's going to cause a bunch of damage. Well, the witches worshiped that tree that were in town locally, and the witches went to the city council meeting and they demanded that it not be cut down. Well, the city council's like, fuck you, like, we'll do what we want. They cut the tree down anyways. Well, the witches were like, it will come back no matter what. Like, we're going to curse this spot. So lightning struck the stump and caused the tree to grow back. And now the tree doesn't look like any tree in the whole city or state. It's the most hideous, crazy, bizarre tree, but people worship it and give it gifts and give it items and souvenirs and donate beads. There's horseshoes that's like a symbol of witchcraft. And in the Halloween, some witches are still going down there. People, like, I respect the tree and I think it's really cool and unique looking, but I'm not touching it. And now I know some people that have touched it and they just wanted to, but I find it very odd. Now, would you say that is real from being a plant expert, that a lightning strike in a tree maybe would grow a different way?
So, yes. I can say that. So for part of my job, I will cut down trees.
Okay.
And invasive trees. So not native. And then I have to come back with an herbicide to treat the stump so it won't grow back.
Got you.
Because most trees are really awesome at growing back from a root sprout. Okay. So, and when they do that, that's a lot of injury to a tree. If you completely cut it down, no matter how big or how small, it takes a lot of energy to regrow that sprout and turn into whatever, It still is going to be the same species unless there were 2 trees growing together, and when it got cut down, the dominant of those 2 trees types grew. It's going to look different because it is so energetically drained by the time it pulls that one leading vein out that it's going to be so drained. So it could be, is it like twisted and
Yeah,
knobby?
yes, very, very.
It just looks like a
It looks like a
haggard
dogwood
old
on
tree.
steroids, like a dogwood tree on steroids, for sure.
Yeah,
That's
and dogwoods are kind of, depending, I don't know what the species is, but depending on the species, some of those are just knobby and knotty anyway.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that once the tree got cut down, if they didn't do some sort of treatment to it, it's coming right back.
Now,
And I don't want to anger any witches.
I
also have to say, my coven, ladies, men, everyone in between, maybe your positive vibes and curse worked.
Yeah.
But based on tree biology, it helped you a lot.
Yes.
So I just got to throw that out.
Yeah.
I don't want to anger anybody.
No, for sure. I think that's cool that is a reality too, because it is something that is very mysterious, blew my mind. But you never know. You really never know of, like you said. And now another thing that I will say about plants that is very unique. So what gives plants the color that they have? Now, I know some plants just have it. I know that's not probably an easy answer, but if you're growing something purple hue to it, why? Why does it have that?
Anthocyanins is purple, I think. Don't somebody Google that and then get back to me if that was right or not. I think that's the right color, but most of them produce the color because of chlorophyll.
Yeah.
So chlorophyll is the unit that makes all of the plant go around, all of its nutrients and process it. Mm-hmm. So basically your chlorophyll. So, and chloroplasts within your chlorophyll. Chloroplasts are technically what gives it its color. Don't come at me, biologists. I know I've been out of school a while.
Yeah.
And I'm not good with terms, but that is what it comes down to. And so if a plant lacks chloroplast, it can, and it can still have other chemical compounds that help it create nutrients. Yeah. In that case, it can be those colors. So it can be purple, it can be some of the saprophytic plants, those that are those plants that are, sucking the life out of another plant, don't necessarily have that because they don't need it, because they're robbing from somewhere else. But if it's creating its own energy, it's most likely going to be a variation of green.
Gotcha. Okay. And now, would you say, what plants do you know off the top of your head that would survive in an Arctic tundra, like in an Arctic area? Is there any plants that would?
Mosses and lichens.
Okay. And why do they survive in cold areas and other plants can't?
They have a really thick cuticle, so the waxy covering on them is super thick. Mm-hmm. They also are really low to the ground, so they don't require a lot of sunlight because it can fill its quota pretty quickly. Okay. And also some of the things that could be eating it, herbivores. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of like reindeer. I'm thinking of reindeer moss is what I'm really thinking of.
If you were a wild animal, would you be a herbivore, an omnivore, or a carnivore?
I think I would be a detritivore. I think I would be lurking around for all the dead stuff. I'd be like
you'd be like a vulture.
I would be a vulture, 100%.
Wow,
you always have food.
That's a cool answer. Yeah, I mean, I guess because everything's going to eventually die. I mean, with all the dinosaurs, and now I guess I'd be an omnivore. Like, I would like to eat both, and I also like to be the one like, hey, that dude's eating this like salad over there on the ground, but like, don't fuck with him; he'll bite your neck off, like kind of deal. Or like, kind of a badass, but I also I like to keep it green. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, and I would like to be a vulture or a raccoon. Like, I want to be a trash panda a little bit because you always have food. Yeah, and I adore food.
I do too. I do adore food. What would you say your favorite food you've ever grown? That you personally grew, you bit into, and you said, "Wow, like this is really good," and I can't believe I grew it or I was a part of the process.
I grew sweet potatoes, purple sweet potatoes last year.
And you were very impressed with the taste?
Man, I don't know what I expected, but they were so sweet. And I'm kind of a whore for a sweet potato. You make it into a fry, I'm there.
The best sweet
And
potato I've ever had, like fast food chain wise, is Outback's. Like loaded up. Yeah,
give
yeah,
me that marshmallow fluff. Give me
yeah.
that that brown sugar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And then Montgomery Inn in Cincinnati is like my favorite restaurant in the world.
mine too.
They have like
Ugh.
tons of like just like they put like the butter and the stuff in there, but it's just a thick potato. I'm not even a big potato guy, but I love sweet potatoes. So like I'm not like a big like I like potato wedges. Like when it comes to baked, like potato wedges, potato skins. I just don't eat an actual baked potato, but sweet potato, yeah, I can get down with that. Like loaded up with some good shit, marshmallows too. Like I like that. Cheddar's has that sweet potato casserole side.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's why I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving might be my favorite holiday.
It's a good one.
For the food, not for the shitty things that white people did. Don't come at me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck that.
Fuck white people. Wow, I didn't think I'd get there this fast, but I absolutely adore the food. Anytime you can take a potato, smother it in butter, put freaking marshmallows on top, pour the brown sugar, right? Like, and pecans. You got to throw pecans in there somewhere.
Well, it should be. I mean, sweet potatoes probably should be more common in other restaurants. Like people are so quick to make it into fries, and I like sweet potato fries, but a sweet potato is not the same as an actual sweet potato fry, like strip. It just doesn't have the same quality to me. Like I need that full potato loaded up with the good shit, and yeah. So, let's go into another direction here. I think we've answered a lot of the basic questions about plants and learned some things. I mean, I think that there's tons of questions that can be asked, and that's another thing. If you have any questions for Evie, please email me at vibingwithsleezy@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter at hibachisleazy or on the Instagram or Facebook. I answer everything. I will respond. Or you can contact Evie herself, and she plugged her stuff in the beginning. She's going to plug at the end, and we're going to have her plug her craft room here actually shortly. So that's the direction I want to get. We're going to reach from the plants over to the crafts. So you love doing crafts. I respect the craft game. I think it's something that is very important. And I think that guys don't like to talk about it as much, but it is cool to get creative with stuff. I've made scrapbooks. I've built some shit myself. Like it's fun. Now, I also think there's a lot of cool things you can do in the craft realm. Now, like what you have done, I've noticed, you've hand stitched little animals or figurines or different things. That's really cool to me. And like, I guess people would say it's cute or whatever, but it's just like, I like the thing. Yeah. So I like those little things, like cute little things. So how do you come up with your ideas of what you're going to make? And also what do you like to make? I mean, what is, if somebody needs something made by you or is looking just to purchase something, what is it? What do you offer?
Man, I'm so seasonal in what I like and what I want. I feel like as artists, I think you touched on it so much in your first episode. It's like at some point, it doesn't matter what it is as long as I'm being creative.
Yes, I agree.
It's like I love anything with yarn because the art of buying yarn is totally separate from like using it. And I love buying yarn. Yeah. Because I'm a collector. Like that's something we have similar. Like I love collecting things. So I try to make things that are like I'm wearing my shawl. I like either things that are going to go in your wardrobe and stay in your wardrobe for the next 10, 20 years. Mm-hmm. Or I want something just cute and doesn't have a function and you could give it to your kids or you could keep it on your desk. So I make these crocheted chickens. I make crocheted pigs. I make crocheted owls. It's mostly what I see out. I spend a lot of time in the woods with my job. And so I will be walking through and last time I saw
a really cool job. You have a really cool job. It sounds like.
Thank you. Yeah, it is insane how much stuff I get to do. So I was like walking through the woods and I saw this color of this moss that I loved, like could not get out of my head. Sometimes I just see a color, or like I saw an owl one time and I could not get that out of my head.
That's cool.
And so I dyed some yarn to match that because I needed to have it. So
and would you say,
this is
oh, nice. We got some examples. So with the owl, when you saw that owl, what was your first reaction to seeing the owl?
It was in a stump hole. So I was walking along and I'd heard some rustling, and I do a lot of work by myself. And so as a woman by yourself in the middle of the woods, your first thought is somebody's going to jump out and attack me. Yeah. So you got to, like, I don't think I do it consciously. So it's subconsciously, I'm like tense and I'm like, I'm ready to fight.
What's that noise? Like, what's that noise kind of deal?
What's that noise? And I'm like trying to figure out where it's at. And I heard a low trill, and this barred owl pops its head out like, hello, I am here. This is my home. What are you doing? Mm-hmm. And then my next thought was, I'm going to have to fight this owl. Like, I don't know if I've never seen anybody attacked by an owl. That's not usually how they work. I understand the biology of it, but still in my head, I was thinking like, I have to attack. Right. Mm. And so I'm waiting for the owl to come at me, and the owl just looks up and ducks its head back down. Like, oh no, human, I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
I'm over it.
So it had these massive eyes, and that's like the one thing I remembered. So then I get home and I'm knitting something or crocheting something, and all I could think about is I want to make something with those massive eyes, because that's like, I want something cute. I want something cute that you can squeeze and hold and
and maybe make you remember about seeing that owl too. Like, you could even make it for yourself. Like, hey, reminds me of a little owl I saw. Because I think my first owl experience, I saw one in Cherokee Park, and it was from such a distance, but there's something cool about it. I mean, yeah, I still get excited. I'm not the biggest, like, oh, hoorah, go USA kind of dude, but it's like, I still think it's cool as shit seeing a bald eagle. Like, I think, like, I've seen one, I think it's like so majestic. But an owl just gives you that feeling like, oh, wow, like that's a cool ass bird. And there's just like a mystery about them. Like, you know, you don't know everything about owls. You know, they kind of got a personality of their own.
They're just so soft. They're just like, it always reminds me of like what the spirit of the forest is personified as is an owl.
Yeah. I would love to have a pet owl one day. Like, if there was an owl that needed to be like rehabilitated or something, like that'd be pretty cool just to have that owl, because it's like, you're just sitting there at the house, somebody calls you up, especially like for me being like a single dude, like I could be like, hey, you want to come over? And it's like, oh, I know what he wants. And it's like, no, actually I want you to meet my owl too, you know? And then they're like, what, you have an owl? They're like, holy shit. And then if I just put on my Tinder bio, I have an owl, it's over.
Best wingman ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way.
Pun intended.
And my owl I would actually name my owl Hootie Delight. It's a beer that I've had before, but I just think I would name him like Hootie Delight, like Hootie for short, maybe the Hoot Man. Like, what up, Hoot Man? But I think owls are definitely I don't know, just there's something unique about them. I love hawks too. I remember there's a few times hawks I've seen like talons left, or like where they maybe like got caught on something and they leave like maybe a claw, and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, like this is what's diving into like a rodent's back or something. It's just, I don't know, it's just wild how everything is like made and built. So with crafts, doing it, do you do it custom? Like if someone called you up and wanted something, do you think you are on that level you could do that?
I am very choosy. I've been at this. I've been knitting for like almost a decade, and I've been having this as a business this is going to be year 3 now.
That's awesome.
And in year 1, thank you. I don't know if like you feel this pressure as a creative, but in the first year it was like, if I don't do these custom orders, everyone's going to forget about me. If I don't bend to everyone's whim, everyone's going to forget about me.
I totally agree with that 100%, because when I'm putting something out, like back in college, like doing music, like I moved to Nashville. Getting shitty, hey. And I didn't want anyone from like Louisville to forget, like, hey, I'm down here DJing, I'm down here doing music. Then I keep putting that content out. Then I'm doing poetry and I'm like publishing and putting that out. I'm my number one self promoter. I think I market myself better than anyone markets themselves, and I'll go to bat against anyone in that level. Like a lot of people say, oh, I know how to promote, I know how to do the brand, I push it. No, I notice a lot of people do that for a couple months and then they fade out or they give up or they quit. And it's like, I'm the type of person where I'm going to keep promoting myself. I'm going to keep myself relevant. I'm going to be proud of what I've already put out and already done in my life. But it's like kind of tying back to that episode. But it's like now with this podcast, I said this from the beginning. I don't care if it blows up but if it does blow up, that'd be huge, that'd be awesome. And, money coming in and celebrities, but, you name it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep putting content out now because I do feel like if I don't, it's not true at all, but it's self-pressure that I will be relevant, that I'll fall off. I know everyone supports me that's in my circle or in my life, but there's a lot of people that haven't been in my life in a while, or people that are coming in like, hey, what's this? And I want to keep hitting them with content. I've been doing like 2 episodes a week. This is episode 4, but I already have other episodes planned. I got episodes planned all the way through April. I'm going to keep putting out content. It might get to be where 1 week there's 3 episodes, 1 week there's only 1. But my main goal is to keep putting content out, just like you're doing, where it's like you want to keep making stuff, keep doing stuff. Because at the end of the day, I'm not saying I want to die tomorrow or that I hope to live a long life, but I'm saying at 31, legacy is very important. And I think what you put out there, even if it's silly, even if it's just a photo, even if it's just taking a picture of something. Like I used to take all these zoo pictures and enter them into animal photo contests. I'm not even a photographer, and I fucking got in one in place. It's like that shit's fun, and it's like that's what people need to start doing more. Who gives a shit what people think? Who cares if it's like, oh, you were doing this 2 weeks ago, now you're doing this? It's like get your feet involved in everything, and you won't fall back into this realm of like, what if, because it's like you're continuously doing it. So I think, not to get off the long tangent, but it's like with this,
no, I love it.
I want to keep putting out the content and have people seeing that like, hey, he's serious about this. But I think, and what my goal is to eventually here, hopefully in a few months, get to a level where, not that I want to slow up, not that I want to take a break, but if I do have 1 episode, if it takes me 3 episodes in a 2-week span, shit's going to get busy in life. It happens. But people aren't going to be like, oh, he's falling off, or what's he doing? What's Sleezy doing? What's Eric doing? No, it's like, oh, I'm going to just stay tuned for this next episode. I understand, there can be a delay. And I think that's what people too are kind of not to get into another subject, but like talking about your crafts. Like you are a producer, you're a creator, you make stuff. You clearly have made stuff that is multiple of one item. So like you've made probably more than 1 pig. So say
300.
300. So exactly. That's super talented. That's super awesome. And it's like, so you have 300 pigs made, whatever. I'm just saying, you got those 300 pigs. You get 305 orders in of these pigs, say, for example, and you got to make 5 more. The whole thing about it is you're looking at it is that, okay, people are buying this, supporting it, but it's like 305 people now have that pig. They have that legacy from the standpoint. But which is so cool, and you want to make sure everybody has it. But I also feel like with where 2021 is, and especially COVID, and maybe you could tie onto this, it is so easy, and I'm guilty of it too. Like, for example, you have your crafts. My buddy Fogel is doing a Brain Forza. People order stuff. People put an order in and put this brand in these clothes. And you pay. And it might take a while to get that item because maybe it's homemade, it's custom. But they could go on Amazon and get it the next morning and they ordered it the night before. Do you feel like even though people know you're just Evie, you're just this person, you're just fucking like coming home and doing some sewing that night, you're not Amazon, you're not going to turn around and have it to them the next day? And it's not friends, it's anybody that's buying from you. Do you feel like people are going that route?
Yeah. So in year 3, so year 1, Evie would have busted her ass, stayed up all night, and made whatever sweater you needed by that next morning, because I was so scared that if people had to wait for an item, that they would turn somewhere else. And there are people in this world that are going to look at Amazon and be like, why the hell would I order something from this bitch when I can get it off at Amazon for half the price and half the time? And I'm not talking to those people, because that is exhausting for me.
Yeah, and that's where you want people to be like, hey, fuck Amazon. I want to buy local. I want to buy it from somebody who's going to work their ass off trying to support them. The other thing, I guess, to get onto that really quick is that I find too, like, tying on to what you just said, when you start something, and I guess it's kind of piggybacking off what I just said, I'm trying to put multiple episodes out every week. You're trying to put your crafts, you're trying to produce as many as you can, but you're developing, you're already into year 3. Like me being a notary, I'm into year 4. I'm about to renew here in May. I'll be going on to my 5th year doing a new 4-year term. But I sit there, and that first couple of years, anytime somebody did a notary, even if I was exhausted, I had plans. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there at 10:30 at night, stamp your fucking sheet, like $20, you know.
I know.
Like, and the thing about it is, I was pushing myself to the point I'm losing my mind. I could have had a huge bonus at work, didn't even need that $20 that night. And I'm like, hey, I'll be there, Bill. I'll be there. And I think that's what I take pride in. Like, I've made a brand, like I've made a representation of myself. People know, yeah, Eric means he's legit. But it's like, it's one of these things where now, like in year 4, like, perfect example, last night some girl hits me with her mom and needed a notary. I would have loved to do it. I wanted to help out. I would have done it. I didn't check my messenger for an hour, and I get busy, and they're like, hey, we went with someone else. 2 years ago, first year, I would have been beating myself up. I would probably had anxiety about it. Like, fuck, I need to go home and smoke or have a drink. Like, this is frustrating. I was kind of like, fuck it, whatever. I said, congrats, moved on. You know, I was just appreciative they reached out to me first. And it's one of these cases. That shit happens with everything. And I think that's why it's so important to keep things refreshing, not only in your personal life, like when you do something, but like trying new shit. Because you might be doing crafts for 15 years. I might do notary work for fucking 30 years. But there might be something new to the game to it. I need to go try that, because if I don't, I'm going to continuously do the same repetitive shit, and then it's going to get old, and you're going to lose the passion. That's the biggest thing. You know, everything has a word that ties to it. You know, religion has the word faith tied to it. You know, sports has the word, I guess you would say, athletics tied to it. You know, different words. I say with being creative and just doing something you want to do, the main word's passion. And it's not it's not passion as in, oh, this is a passion fruit tea, or oh, you're so passionate with the way your emotion. No, this is passion about you're taking something you love and you're fucking running with it. And the thing about it that's cool is, you know, 150 years ago, everyone was trying to make something of theirs because there was nothing around. You know, there all these bourbon companies, all these, I mean, everything, fucking spices, robot, whatever. So calendars probably. I mean, so you see all these brands that are around locally, national. They say since 1860, since 19. So everyone has been trying to create something over time. It's so cool now that you would think in 2021 we'd have it all. We have so many people, so many brands. No, we don't. More shit's being created. More shit's happening. And it's like, you might be one in 150,000 women in Indiana, locally, independent, that are trying to make it so and doing this. You have a passion. You're pushing this brand. You're this. You got this thing, and people are still buying it. People are still, and you're doing something different. And there's 149,000 other people doing something the same but different. And that's what makes you able to still fucking do it and be relevant. You're still interesting. You're still relevant. And the same thing with me. There's a billion podcasts out. I want to make it something different. It might sound like someone's, but it's everyone puts your own flavor on it. So I think that's what you do really good at. By you're doing something very unique in the craft world. By you could get hit with, oh fuck, like she's, I saw someone else make a chicken. No, I make a chicken this way. You can make it the same style.
And I get that a lot. So when I first started, and I hate to make these comparisons, but I've changed the way I've done my business so much in such a short time. And I think part of that's thanks to COVID, because I had to. And the other part is I grew up, like in the first year, people would show me a picture of something and say, hey, can you make this? And I am really good at doing that. Like I can copycat about anything, but why? Like I learned I had too much of my own flair to add to everything in life. Why in the hell would I copy somebody else's? Exactly. And I've had it where I've come up with a design that's very similar to someone else, because there are thousands upon thousands of knitwear designers. Like this shawl I made is not new in any way, shape, or form. It's like the same shape that everybody uses. And we came up with the same design at about the same time. And I believe it's Oscar Wilde that says, inspiration strikes like a lightning bolt. Mm-hmm. And if you don't catch it, it's going to go to somebody else.
Oh, cool.
So cool. I think about it in the way I was mad at first because we came up with the same design and we released it on the same day. Right. So then I'm on this Instagram looking at this. I'm like, son of a bitch. So then I drop into her DMs and I'm like, hey, I just need you to know that we created the same thing. I swear to God, I was not looking at yours, and I'm going to assume positive intent and you weren't looking at mine. What do you want to do about this? Because mine was free, hers was not.
Yeah.
And so obviously people are going to go with the free thing. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it, and we ended up, we're going to charge the same price for it. And so it worked out for me because I ended up getting to charge money where I wouldn't have, because I didn't think I was good enough. And she got to make money as well. And we kind of just split the difference.
But it also taught you that what you're doing is good enough. If someone is selling it now, it's like, that's the whole thing about it. And because at the end of the day, no matter if it's just friends that buy something or it's complete strangers, if someone is taking their hard-earned money and paying $1 or $100 for whatever you're doing, number one, they support you, but people aren't doing it really if they don't need it. Like if somebody came to me and said, hey, Eric, I just started the world's largest diaper company. Well, I don't have any babies and I don't plan on anytime soon. So here's the deal. I'm not going to fucking go buy a pack of diapers so you get, an extra diaper sale. No, I'm not. But if you come to me with something that is relevant, I feel like, or that is unique, I will. And so that's what I think is so cool, that it's like, not only are you doing something that you're good at, but you're unique about it. That's why I think, like, I love to tell stories. I've done audio, but it's like the podcast is something unique for this city, unique just in general. Not a lot of people are doing. And I've heard so many people now say that I've started this, I want to start my own, or, hey, you should get on mine, or get, and at the end of the day, I laugh because I still swear up and down that all the people in middle school in Louisville and JCBS schools, and I don't know, hopefully people that listen to this episode might chime in on this, but I wore fitted caps all the time, the baseball caps. And I know people are doing it like in movies and rappers and stuff, but I feel like I started that trend. And then in high school, everyone started rocking the hats, the flat bill, all this stuff. So I think at the end of the day, that's pretty cool. If people starting podcasts just because I did one, It's a trendsetter. I'm a trendsetter.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And I think you give people permission to be more themselves and take more risks. So yeah. Hey, everybody who's listening, I'm going to brag on Eric for a while, because this is something that I've noticed for the whole time I've known you, which I've known you for a hot minute now, is that you are never scared to take the next step in something. And when you do it, other people look at you and like, wow, he did it. I've always wanted to do that. That's always been on my heart. But now that I see somebody doing it, I think it's real.
I appreciate it.
And even in us doing this, I was just thinking, I'd like to start a podcast. And I remember, okay, episode 1, we're going to I'm a fangirl a little bit. You said that you would always say, I'm going to put that in my book.
That was something I did as a kid. Yeah, for sure.
And I 100%, that hit me so hard, because I've always said that as well. Like and I don't know if you feel this. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. You can take your show back.
Go ahead.
Sleepy E is taking over.
Go ahead.
So one of the things that has always been on my heart is I always knew I was going to be in front of a camera. I always knew I was going to write a book. And I always knew that I was going to be speaking in front of people. I didn't know anything else about my life when I was like 8 years old, but I knew all those things. Do you feel the same way? Like and I think when you talk about your legacy, I think you feel it too. Like, I'm not necessarily going to be the next Oprah or anything, but I definitely am going to have an impact in some way.
That's my main goal in life. You know, when I was a little kid, I was actually picked to be on a KB Toys commercial. I fucking butchered it. It took me about 19 takes just to say, oh, this button does good on the bus, like some stupid ass line. I sounded horrible. And I'm like 4 or 5. But to be honest with you, the older I got, the more confidence I grew. I started playing sports. I started making the basketball teams. I started getting this confidence of, I can be out, I can do these things. But then I started realizing, like, you know, towards the end of high school, I had been creative in school doing like drama or writing poetry, but I knew basketball wasn't forever. I knew that baseball wasn't forever. I knew that I was going to have to go get an education. I was going to have to get a job, but I wanted to at least try stuff. So then doing music, doing the DJ, like trying those different things, it's just, it motivated me to keep getting my feet wet in different angles and different directions, so I could see what I'm good at and see what maybe I'm not comfortable at. But it's like, at least that's the main thing. At least I said I tried. Like, you know,
at least I said I tried.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I think people are so quick to get old and look back and regret stuff and kick themselves. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that I wish could have went a different route. But at the end of the day, I live my life to the fullest. I always have. I never will look back and be like, oh, I just sat around. I'm not that type of person. Everyone that knows me knows I'm getting my feet wet. I'm doing something. I'm going to be successful. So it's like, I want to live a long life. But if something happened and I'm gone tomorrow, it's like, the thing about it is, I want people to look back on it and say, wow, he did this. He did that. He was doing these things. And I like I said, I like achieving things. Like, I look at my LinkedIn and it's like all these different things I've done and seen. And it's because it's like, it's fun. It's what's part of life. Like, why not leave an impact on people, a legacy? Yeah, not everything's going to be fucking roses and sunshine in life. Like, life's going to fucking be shit as fuck. But you also have to take all the negative things and look at it and be like, this is minimal shit. But if you're all about being negative and your life is just negative, you're going to be negative and nobody's going to want to be around you. And that's the whole thing about it too. It's like, when I see these people, and, you know, a couple of rules for my show, I don't ever get into politics. I don't ever really get into like debates with anyone, because I know that everyone has a different opinion. But anyone, like, I'm talking about anybody. It don't matter if you're Democrat, Republican. It don't matter if you're a celebrity and you're been in movies 20 years ago or your movies now. Why do people not give a fuck? Like, I understand not giving a fuck. It's so cool to say, I don't give a fuck. Like that's fun sometimes. Like, hey, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna jump in the lake naked. Like that's fun. That's crazy. But it's like you just beat up your kids and you shot your dog or something horrifying, and then people are like pressing you, celebrity, like all these paparazzi, all these people are like, hey, why'd you do that? What the fuck's your problem? And they're like, oh, fuck off. I do what I want. And you're like, why do you want that legacy? You could die tomorrow. Why do you want, while you're still somewhat relevant, people to say, oh, that dude was a complete dickhead. What a shithead.
Yeah.
Like do something positive. If you're not creative and you can be creative in anything you do. So like, even if you don't want to produce, you could work at a warehouse and be creative from the standpoint, I pick these items differently because I do this route. And people might say, and what's cool about that is, yeah, you might not have made a podcast. You might not have made a scarf. You might not have made something branded with your name, but say Roger, a random guy at the warehouse, starts picking items where he's like, I go A, B, C, D, and everybody goes D, C, B. And they're like, you know what, Roger? You're right. And say Roger's fucking 75 years old. He's fucking going to retire tomorrow. They're like, hey, Roger, we having everybody do it your way. He probably doesn't give a shit because he's retired, but that's pretty fucking cool. Like maybe 2 months, you're fucking drinking a beer on your patio and you're like, hey, I'm done with that job, but they're doing it my way. Like they're doing it my way. Or like I said, I get hyped just going in my Buzzsprout and clicking refresh, and it's like, oh, somebody else listened. And what I've noticed is the positive feedback I do get is tremendous. I haven't, knock on wood, I pray to God I haven't had any negative, but it's like,
don't do it on this one, fam. Don't do it on this one.
No. And it's just, I think I'm putting out great content. I think guests like you're fantastic. I think all the guests I have had been fantastic. And, I had somebody ask me the other day, what are you going to do when you run out of people you can think of having on, like friend-wise and everything? And I said to him, I go, there's no way of running out. There's no way.
Yes.
Because people can come back on, number one. Number two, I think if it gets to a point where I've had so many people on that I can't think of someone else, which I already have like a billion people in my mind, then number one, I've been doing it long enough where I should be famous and have like Jack Harlow and big people on there. Or number two, it's like, I need to keep bringing some of these people back on. So it's at the level where I feel like with this, it can never stop. Like it can never die in a way.
Can I tell you 2 things I heard?
Yes.
So the first thing I heard is that you're friends with basically everyone.
No, I'm not trying to say that. No, I don't want
You've never met a stranger is what
Yeah, that's how I am. I will say that.
Yes. So I think that is really important, especially in this and everything you do, is that you treat people so well and with so much empathy. And I think that's what we need in this world. We need more people who are not only positive, but really empathetic towards other people.
Thank you. I feel like you are too. You're very positive. I met you through Kate and Eddie, who's another couple for the people listening. That's
love you guys.
Yeah. Hopefully they give this a listen. Shout out to Eddie and Kate. But basically, me and Evie met, and we hit it off, and we've known each other now for a few years. And it's one of these cases where, I thought you'd be the perfect guest. You are a very positive, nice person, but I thought you would bring a good energy and something interesting. I mean, not only from plants, crafts, and also too, I want to have people on this show to plug stuff in a way. I feel like awesome. in this city, and I don't know if you feel this way from your, I don't know, not friend group, and I don't really feel this way with my friend group or anybody, but just locally, I feel like with like me. I've talked to my friend Austin, who does comedy. I've talked to several people. Some people just don't want to promote in a way. Like you brought up a comment. You said that, hey, people are seeing you do this, Eric, or seeing me do something, and it's trying. They want to try because they never did it. I don't think it's anyone against me or against my buddy or against anyone that's trying something, but it is interesting to me that in Louisville locally, you don't have a lot of people that are very big on promoting something, like it's not that they bring it down either. It's just like laziness, I guess, in a way. And if you're not going to do anything and you don't want to put stuff out, be supportive, and that's what I think is so key, because if you're not, you're going to get to the level of people are going to be like, wow, this guy's really doing something. He's been doing this for a year now. I keep seeing him with these posts. It shouldn't be where I think that's too where I've had marketing expertise from working at Leo, that I've learned that you can't do some things where you kill someone's brain cells, or you're like over and over. But it's yeah. but it's hard from a marketing standpoint for everyone to keep things relevant sometimes. So you can find yourself being repetitive. But I think it's bullshit when someone is your friend or engaged in your shit, like owns your product or listens to it or promotes it, and then they're like, man, this is really actually annoying me that they're posting this much, or you get this annoyance feel. I never want that from anyone that listens to this. I never want that for you. I never want that for anyone, because that's not how it should ever be. If you're wanting to support this and be a part of this in any realm, a fan, a fucking participator, don't get a negative mindset on it just because, oh, I'm annoyed at seeing this thing, I'm annoyed at that. Remember, this person's trying to fucking make it just as fucking bad as you are.
Yes. So I used to do multi-level marketing, and it was an essential oil company. Mm-hmm. Shout out to everyone who supported me during one of the roughest times personally in my entire life. And thank you for buying things from me, because it was sometimes the only way I paid rent. So, I definitely felt like my marketing strategy wasn't personal. I felt like it was this, because I was one of like a million people. I don't know how many people, but a lot of people doing it. And so we would get these canned graphics from the company, and what I was doing didn't feel genuine, didn't feel personal. It felt very salesy.
Feel corporate? You felt like corporate was like you were a corporate, like robot?
Yeah. And I had no formal marketing training. I didn't really know what my voice was. I didn't know who I was. I was just trying to make rent. Like, I didn't care if I had to beg, borrow, and steal. So
I feel it.
That's when I got my first real feedback that people were annoyed. People would hit the unfollow button. People were annoyed. And then I think the more I found my voice and the more authentic I was, I don't know if I started tuning out all the negative people, the people who were annoyed, who didn't want my emails, or what, but I started to gear myself towards people that really did care. And then the algorithm kept changing. So some people were seeing a lot, some people were seeing a little, and it just depends on who it was.
It can be something that I think not only can the algorithm affect shit, like you said, but something that people don't realize too, you're doing this to survive and put bread in your pocket. And for people to get annoyed by it has to be at a level where either you've done it or they're just a piece of shit. And then the reason I say that is that you've either caused the annoyance, or it's one of these cases where, or they just don't want to support, or they're just like, hey, I'm tired of her saying this because I don't want it, or I'm not interested. But you're trying to do it to survive. And it's one of these cases, I totally get that. I think it's a very mental dwelling thing when people do have to get in that business. I'm not going to say his name, and I'm not going to even name the company, but someone I know personally here locally, and I don't even know if he'll listen to the episode. If he does, he'll know who he is. But he's contacted. I'm not afraid of anyone, but it's like I'm talking about. I feel comfortable from the standpoint saying I know what he's part of. He's part of a company. He's trying to push different products out. He's trying to get commission off it, and I'm not hating on it. It's a grind. I get it. But I've already talked to people that he's contacted, and they're annoyed. They're pushed away. They don't want to be a part of it. I see the grind. I do so many hustles. I promote this. I market things that I don't mind helping. I don't mind being buying a product from him, and I do it. I do it because I want to support. As much as it might annoy the shit out of me, I want to do it to support. And I think it's one of these cases where we have to sometimes swallow our pride. We have to sometimes realize that it's not all about us, and we have to help people out. And I'll admit, I sit there sometimes, I could be having the worst day, have all this shit going on. I need to just get home, and I'm sitting there looking at my phone, and I'm like, what the fuck did that? God damn it. Like, now they're texting. And you're like, you don't want to feel that way, but you're like, but then you sit there and you're like, you know what? I just hit up this one person 3 times today to try to get an answer on an application for this place I'm trying to rent them. And you start and sit, you're like, you got it. People, this is just a life lesson in general. People just got to put themselves in other people's shoes. And I think to get back onto what you said, and I appreciate all the kind words you said. Like I said, I feel the same way about you. I think we're both great people. I think, though, that's the thing about it. I can put myself in people's shoes. When I have people on this podcast, I want to relate to them. I want to get to know them. I think everyone is interesting. And I think if you think you're better than people, or you get in this mindset where you're just like, it's like you're not doing yourself any favor. Also, too, half the time you might be annoyed by hearing someone out, but they might actually in the end have something that can help you in general.
Yes. And that's my thing. If you can put yourself in someone's shoes, if you have a mom who's doing an MLM that you see all over your Facebook, and you're like, this girl, if she sells me, if I see one more tummy wrap, I swear to God, honey, think about it. You can just unfollow.
That's all you have to do. Yeah.
I would much rather you unfollow me, you piece out of my existence, than tell me how much you hate me or how annoying it is.
Because it's mental. They don't understand how mentally affecting that can be. But because here's the thing, you're not different. You are the same Evie. You're the same person that you were before you sold it. You're the same person that you are selling it. Yeah, you might be more annoying. Whoop-de-doo. But at the end of the day, why would you sit there and be like, man, fuck that bitch? Like, get all these negative mindsets when you're like, all they're doing is just trying to make some fucking cash. Like, you don't need the reps. Whoop-de-doo. That doesn't mean they're a bitch or they're an idiot. Like, and like you said, there's so many filters nowadays. Just fucking unfollow, filter it out.
Yeah.
Quit being a hater.
And I totally get it. And I understand. And I used to do a lot of mental health posts, which I will get back on because I think I'm there now.
Yeah.
And I had someone unfollow me and then DM me that I was very triggering for their anxiety. And I want to say something about that. If I am ever triggering to your anxiety, I have been in that place and you need to unfollow me. And I want to thank that person for calling me out, because then I started to look at myself a little bit more. So in that case, I took that criticism. I took it hard. I cried a lot, but I also looked at it and went, maybe there's some truth in this. So if you have something constructive like that, totally tell me don't tell me my voice is annoying. I kind of know I can't change it.
Yeah.
But if it's something like that, or if I say something that's offensive in some way, let me know. Like, call me out on my bullshit, because I'm on it all the time.
I think that's something that in any creative content way that can happen. I'm glad you brought this point up, because I went to a birthday party over the weekend, and a couple supporters of the show, again, I don't know who listens to each episode, but and I appreciate you, Evie. I appreciate a lot of you all like showing the love and listening consecutively, but a girl, my 2 friends, Nicole and Leah, they are 2 great chicks. They threw a birthday party for Alicia, my friend. Great time. And, we're talking about my podcast and whatever. And I'm the type of person at a party, especially if I don't know everybody, I'll talk about myself, like if you ask, but I'm more of like, hey, I'm here to I'm here to have a good time. We can talk about it, but I want to know about you, whatever. And I asked Nicole, who had started a baking YouTube series where she like baked some items and talked about like some conspiracy stuff, like ghost things. Well, she did one episode, and see, I thought it was a great idea, and I thought it was like a really good concept, like different.
Yes.
And what sucks is somebody wrote in the comments on one of the things she had said and called her out and basically said that something that she had stated wasn't like factual representation, but took it to a whole new level, got super nasty with it, like made it way too fucking personal. And I think Nicole wears her heart on her shoulders, and you know, for Nicole to put something on it just, but the thing that sucks about it the most, and I didn't want to be at dinner like, well, you shouldn't stop, you know. I understand everyone has a different viewpoint, but I think number one, I don't think she should give up because fuck that person. But number two, I can tell that a comment like that can affect somebody so much. And I just want people out there that are listening to this, or if you are deciding to try to do something, I don't care if it's make it, do a podcast episode. If you want to do an OnlyFans and you got a lopsided titty, at the end of the day, don't let any haters judge you. Yeah, I'm saying yes. Don't let anyone judge you, because at the end of the day, like perfect example, I took a risk back. Bring up the song Getting Shitty. I made the song Getting Shitty back in the day. I posted on a world music page on Facebook. It was a private group, had over 1 million users. And the risk you take is, yeah, you get more views on your video. You get people around the world seeing it. You get positive. I got friends. I have a lifelong friend, Emma, who is like literally in Wales. She's like my biggest fan. One of my best friends in the world. Met her through this page. But people also wrote on there, eat a dick, you fucking suck. You know what? And the thing about it is, I have such thick skin and I know people love me. I don't sit there and like, oh, whatever. Like, it'd been different if like everyone hated it. There was more positive response than negative, but you have to just let those comments roll, because at the end of the day, no matter this time when you're being creative, it's like the world star view. Everyone wants to be a hater. Everyone wants to be a negative light, and people have to quit doing that, and they have to start being supportive. And also the last thing I'll say on my little tangent of just, no matter what you're doing, if you're afraid of what someone's going to think, if what someone might do, or what or how am I going to be consistent with this, fuck all those thoughts. Like, don't even worry. Because at the end of the day, you have to keep going, because if you let those people do that and you ever get big with it, you'll never be able to be successful, because it is true. Those stupid goofy hats we used to see. I love haters. I heart the haters. Those were the stupidest fashion trend back during the fucking VH1 I Love New York days. But the thing about it is, with those hats, I get so mad because people don't realize, yeah, that's goofy as shit looking hat, but it's a true statement. There's always going to be someone hating, and it's hard. Like, I have been mental roller coaster where I've defeated myself, where I can't overcome because I feel like someone doesn't like this. But at the end of the day, I view everything in a book, and I view life as a book. Life is a book of chapters, and each chapter can be as long or short as you want it to be. You just have to make it. And your chapters can be complete shit. They can be complete beautiful. But you just keep doing it. People are in chapters. There could be a chapter just about me and you, and I'm literally just know you just through friends. There could be me and my buddy, you know, Eddie, our mutual friend. He's like my brother. You know, crazy. There are probably multiple chapters. Just all these different chapters you have with people and experiences. You just got to view it as, hey, not everything's always going to be fucking good. Like, shit's going to be bad, but you have to keep writing your story positive and do that.
So Dr. Brene Brown is the love of my life, and it is my goal to sit down and talk with her. She says that life And those negative thoughts are called your shitty first draft. They are the worst things that you can think of that could happen in a situation.
Yes.
So I've made some really awful designs. Go to my Ravelry page if you want to see some of these awful designs. And I keep them there. I keep them there for a reason. I want everyone to know that you don't start by being Oprah Winfrey, right? You are not, I've referenced her twice, by the way. I love her.
Yeah.
You don't start off doing whatever you're doing, whatever skill, whatever craft, whatever you're producing, whatever you're drawing or making. You don't become Steve Jobs. Like, you become Steve Jobs. You aren't Steve Jobs. Like, you're going to have a lot of shitty chapters in your book.
True.
For me, I have shitty chapters about designs that I apparently stole from someone. Didn't know, but apparently we made a similar thing and had a bad outcome to that. And I was going to get sued, like, bad. I've had where people have told me, like, I do live videos a lot because they're my favorite thing, because I enjoy creating those. And that's the reason I do them. I've had people ask me, like, where did I get my sex change surgery? Why is your voice so high? Why are you such a dumb bitch? Why are you so ugly? Why are your teeth so weird? It's because, kids, I didn't wear my retainers like I should. So wear your retainers. But, like, if I at any point in time would have stopped a chapter when somebody wrote that, I would not have made all of the awesome stuff that I've made.
Yeah.
I would have just stopped.
Like, those people, like, none of it's true. It's what they think. And it's like, I think the biggest outcome is, like, success is the biggest revenge. It's like, if you can just keep being successful, it's like those people are like, they want to phase you, but they're not phasing you.
Yeah. They're like, for me, success is measured by how happy I am. And so creating a design, giving it out to the world, seeing other people make it and enjoy it, that's like, bingo, I did it. I achieved not only a legacy, but I achieved happiness through that. And they got some sort of happiness by making it.
How cool is it to say you made it and then they own it? And it's like, and they're using it. And it's like, that's why too, it's like, I look back on, like, some things, like, I go through different things I collect, and I might sell a few things here and there, and I'll, and I'm thinking to myself, like, hey, I remember I had this here, or I had this there, but it's like, now that's going to someone else's house. And it's just, I like the whole transaction of it. I love shipping shit. Like, I love going to the post office and you're shipping it. It's weird as shit. And I think a lot of people actually get off on that. Not like I get off sexually, but I'm saying I get off from the standpoint of, like, I just love shipping shit. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do like it. And it's weird, but I think it's as humans, we like to ship. I mean,
like, I take a lot of pride in packaging things because I want it to be an experience. When somebody gets something from me, you're not buying something from Amazon. And that's what makes me different. You buy something from me, I'm going to wrap it up in a little thing. I'm going to put a little sticker on it. I'm going to put a little note card, and I'm going to wrap it in this nice little rose gold package because I have a problem, and I'm going to ship it to your house. And when I take it to the post office, I just can't wait to get the tracking number to give it to somebody, because as soon as I buy a package, I want the tracking number, right? I want to follow that thing.
You want it. You want it. It's like people, I think tracking is probably the best technology that we've done as humans, because it's just a way in general for us not only to, of course, track it, which is the whole point, but it's also like, there's no question of hiccup. It also saves from things being missing or like theft. Shit just popping up. I also think it's funny too. It's like, people also are so quick to not look at an address number when they're delivering. I don't know how many times I've had things delivered and it's for unit 7 and I'm over here at this unit and I'm like, it doesn't, just look at the package. But basically what I want to say is thank you so much for being on this show. I know that we have covered lots of stuff. We talked about life. We didn't even really get, I guess, to finish up what I wanted to say about Hanover is you went to Hanover College. I actually spent a lot of time at Hanover in my middle school days when I went to basketball camps there.
Basketball,
And I loved the campus. I actually thought I'd play at Hanover one day if I ever pursued that route. Coach Klein, who's over at St. X now, he was a good friend, kind of mentor, played there, got me in a lot of these camps. So shout out to Hanover College, and
Shout out
maybe
to
they could
Hanover.
sponsor us one day. But
No,
other than
dude.
that, I want to say thank you again, though, for real. You've been a great guest. I've had a blast talking to you. I feel like I get to know you more and more each time we spend together. So again, I wanted to say to everyone that has been listening, thank you. And
Yes.
hopefully you love this episode. And if you do have any questions, contact me at vibingwithsleazy@gmail.com, Hibachi Sleazy at Twitter, or the Vibing with Sleazy, the podcast. You can listen to this now on Spotify, Apple, any places. And I want to give an update to the listeners that are avid listeners. The YouTube is coming. I know I sound like a broken record, but it is. We have this one recorded. We have all 4 recorded. All the future ones will be recorded. Actually, just got a brand new phone today. So
yes,
things are stepping up. So it is coming. But thank you to everybody. But definitely plug yourself right now.
You can find me at Evie's Craft Room, EVIES Craft Room on Instagram. You can find me there on YouTube. You can find me there on Facebook. You can find me there on No, I'm just kidding. I'm not on OnlyFans, but I have considered it. Sorry, Mom.
No, I think to be honest with you, I think we all have considered at some point. I've considered it. It's something where it's just like shit. It might be the route, and to be honest, if I go that route, I will definitely plug it on here first. But I will say, yes, I will have you on for an episode. But the thing about it is, I just want to say too that if anyone has questions about plants or crafts or needs something made, please holler. I know this is the season; it's coming. A lot of plant stores are opening, so definitely check it out and get out there. But thank you again for being on, and we are officially out. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.